Hello everybody, bringing you some more Napoleon Total War gameplay. This is a match I just did against a guy named Kahit. I commanded the French, and he commanded the British. So to start with, I'm going to go over the builds really quickly. I have on my left, I've got 3 Old Guard and 2 Militia. Basically my plan here is for this Militia to be the meat shield at first, and then once he runs off, send the next one. In the middle, I've got 3 volts, and then I've got Fusiliers of Line and Militia. The idea being that the Fusiliers can protect all of these guys, but the Militia can at least get 1 volley off if Cav come in, if needed. My plan also here is I kind of wasn't sure what I wanted to do with these guys, so if I needed to, I could move them here, I could move them up front as a meat shield for the volts, you know, kind of like... I was unsure what to do with them. I think as I iterate on this build, I'll probably not bring 3 militia, or I'll use them differently. I don't know. Anyway, on the right, I've got 3 Swiss foot. And then back here, I've got my 6 gun cav and my general's staff. So let's take a look at my opponent. I'll go ahead and get things going while I do so, though. He's got 4 cav total, 2 light cav and 2 heavy cav. Light dragoons, 15th hussars. He's got foot, Connaught Rangers, Coldstreams, King's KGL foot, Highland foot, foot guards, and then he's got a mix of I think it was 3 rifles maybe, and 2 light foot, which I don't really recommend. So a few things to take note of, like he's got way more foot units than I do, right? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, he's got 9 of them. And if you remember, I don't have that many. I've got 3. I mean, I'm not counting militia. I guess if you count militia, we're more even. So, you know, if you count militia, we're even. But you don't really count militia for that, right? Especially given that I'm using 2 of them, like, in reserve as meat shields. So what does that mean is he should be able to, like, I should have to be worried about him surrounding me. But he kind of keeps his army in this very compact formation, which I would not recommend. And here, so what I'm just kind of doing is at this point I'm just advancing at the field and taking a look at his army. Whereas I think he's deploying all these good units to try to take on my old guard, which is a reasonable thing to do. That's one of the 2 basic approaches. The other thing I kind of like to point out, kind of almost in a sense the opposite of what I said before, he's got his lights really spread out, which I know that's a strategy some people will favor. I am not the biggest fan of it. I like to concentrate mine a little bit more in most circumstances. I think if you're going to do... I think spreading them out like this, to me, always seems to feel very defensive when you want to be more active. Like, you can spread it out and be active, but... And I guess particularly GB versus France, there's reasons you might want to do this, especially when you see I have so few lights. But what you want to do then is say... have 2 or 3 of your lights fight my 3, you know, where you'll still have an advantage. You do 3 of them. But then take the other ones to fight me where I don't have them and be very aggressive there. But you can kind of see, like, whereas he should be able to envelop me, the way things are going right now, I instead can envelop him. Because, like, these guys, he doesn't really have much to oppose them. What I would recommend he do instead is, you know, instead of having so many of his foot hidden behind his lights, maybe just have a few of them. Like here you see I've got 1 foot and 1 militia protecting these lights, and eventually, as I hinted at earlier, I do redeploy such that this militia ends up being just a meat shield instead. But right now I'm gonna let the battle develop a bit, maybe even fast forward some. And you can see he's like tries to do some maneuver to help out with the fact that I have him outflanked. But you can see, okay, now I'm moving my cav over, so I'm going to slow it back down in a minute. So here, you can see he brings his Connaught Rangers forward. I don't really recommend this move, bringing them forward on his own. I think his idea... Oh, and here, I didn't notice his cav are actually charging. So I think his idea was that he'd be able to take out these cav. But for once, I'm actually being pretty good, and my old guard are already close enough to provide easy support. And he kind of realizes this and calls off his cav. If I would have been a little bit better at this game even, I would have moved these cav forward and gotten some great shots off on his guys as they turned around. But that's the action that's kind of developing on my left. But you can see here, like, he actually does have, like, there are things about this position that aren't great for me. If he's very active about it, he's got more line than I do here. Previously he had 5, but then he shunted one of them over here. I think that was a mistake if he's going to try to fight on this flank. So here he's gonna try to do some basic little skirmishing against me. Bring just his rifles forward and being like, hey, I can outrange your lights. And this is a point where I'm like, okay, well, I typically, as France v GB, I'm not gonna want to take an offered lights versus light battle. But if he's gonna just offer me one rifle, then yeah, I mean, first of all, I have to move up. Or he'll just skirmish me for free. And second of all, like, that's actually a fight. My 3 volts versus his 1 rifle. I'm pretty okay with that. So I go ahead and move up. But he probably does the right thing. That was just a bit of a harassment. He moves his rifles back. Even managed to target my volts like a smart person. But the problem with what he is doing here for him is that now, with his rifles being so close to his line, what's going to happen is I'm going to push up here. Oh, meanwhile, I'm pushing up here. He's trying to do a similar, like, bring just the rifles forward to skirmish. And, you know, he does get a good shot off on my old guard. I'll give him that. These cav don't even get in on time to get their shots off. But I don't know that he gets his money's worth on that. So this part, I mean, not a whole lot of action yet, but it's very much like positional, you know, maneuvering, very much like trying to, you know, get each other one up. So now he fires off those shots. I get in position. And you can see now, now I'm able to shoot back, and I'm going to start doing a lot of overflow damage to him. I honestly could have my Fusiliers a little bit further back myself, but he is even closer. So he's really going to take a lot of damage there. Here, I start advancing up. Let my militia take their initial shots. Here, I'm able to get some good shots off on his lights. I honestly probably even should have charged them at this point. But here, he's already in square very prematurely. So I'm just going to move up and get some great shots on his Connaught Rangers.
Our men are running, sir.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, my militia's already running, but here, so he's like, he tries to charge my cav. I don't think this is the right move. I countercharged kind of a little bit late. And he's again charging my cav here. Not really the best use of his cav. Meanwhile, I've got cav here. He finally gets out of square once his guys are really shot to hell. This old guard, they've taken some shots. But here I go ahead and charge through and use my cav the way that you really want to be using them. Meanwhile, he's bringing his infantry up to support the light on light battle. That's probably good. So to kind of forestall that, oh, these guys, they weren't already firing. They get a good volley off on my cav. I have them try to charge his infantry, but for some reason my cav started walking there. I don't know why. But here, I mean, yeah, you can see, like, because my cav got in his infantry, I've charged them off. sent them back behind the flank of his cav that were fighting my cav to finish them. And like at this point, you can kind of see like I've routed this flank pretty well. He's pulled back, but he doesn't really have a whole lot going for him here. Like, and these militia are even back from routing. I don't notice that right away. So here I just press my attack, and I'm content to sit back here, not advance on my right. There, my calves start running away, but they've done their job of forcing him into square, right? And here I just gotta keep pressing my aggressive advance. And now these light foot aren't really in a great spot. Here I think, okay, I can just get some good flanking fire with my more depleted chasseur cheval units. And he routs that militia, but that's fine. Like, this is a fight I'm kind of happy to be doing. He forms square here, and I get why. I see these guys come back from routing, and they can't form square, so I just charge them. Here, these Volts start running, and I think he did a melee attack on my Volts order with these. We'll kind of see what happens here. I'm going to put it in slow, because there's a few things going on at once. So for one, yeah, I do go ahead and charge these unprotected lights. He's doing melee charges on my Volts, but these ones were ordered on the guys that ran away. You can kind of see there, I actually at the time thought, oh, is he trying to like melee charge my general or something? There, yeah, I get into his lights, and they're dead. I'm still just shooting him with my gun cav. And here, like, okay, normal speed again. Here, he's like, oh, getting really close. So I go ahead and, in a sec, I notice this and have my Fusiliers of Lime countercharge him, but I think I only give the order once I'm already in melee. I give the order to break defense, like guard mode. These guys I loop around here, get in with his King's German Legion foot. I think they've retreated a bit, so I should have moved up here. And here I'm just having these Volts are still firing up against his foot. And they're doing pretty well for themselves. Good job, Volts. That's my really hurt old guard, I believe. Yeah, I did end up moving everyone up. Here, I do manage to push those foot away. And here, there's some fighting going on the right. He's finally advanced. I do form square against that cav charge. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna pull back here. Do a bit of a delaying action. Honestly, I probably don't need to do this. Like, I can probably, even if I don't pull back, just win with the rest of this, even against this army. But I do it anyway, just to secure the win. Form square, just in time here. I tried to unsquare these guys and run away, but it was too late. But here I've got a pretty good fight going with these Swiss foot. These Swiss foot, they'll do you right. But at this point, his entire flank is wrapped up. So, I mean, you know, good on this guy. Like, he gamely tries for the rest of the match, but at this point, he doesn't really have much he can do. So I've got my Volts here, you know, doing their thing, trying to skirmish him. I don't know if these guys, they're not in range of anyone. I should have probably advanced them. These guys are, though, and they're getting... He does a good job here, creating a small localized advantage against these two units. Here, these guys are running away, and I just want to make sure they don't come back. Because when running out of cav is a big handicap in this game. Here, you know, just fighting. But this is a place where I've managed to come back and overcome the localized advantage I get. But still, I'm going to try to retreat. And here I'm bringing my general up. Unfortunately, I'm walking him. I should have ran him. I knew for a fact that he didn't deploy stakes at any point, but I was just so paranoid after some of my recent battles. Here, don't manage to get a square. But, you know, that's good on him. But even still, you can see how much I have left. Like, even if these were fairly garbage units, I have so many men left that he's not going to be able to do much. But they're not garbage units. I've got 2 old guard that are pretty healthy. One that's hurt and out of ammo. But honestly, these 2 old guard could probably beat the rest of his army just by themselves. Here's some good fighting going on. And at this point, I think I just, do a melee charge against these guys. Didn't notice these Swiss foot kind of did it in a weird way, but go Swissmen. Kind of gave him a blob, which was good. Here, these guys are in square because of my cav. That's fine. My cav managed to push off his heavy cav, and that's pretty much the game. He does manage to make my Switzers run away. And I wasn't square against my cav. This is a good shot though, right? So I'm retreating my cav away. But at this point, like, being in square, okay, so then my Volks will just pick you off. They've got good shots on you, buddy. Honestly, at this point, I should sometime. And then I see him form the line, so I immediately turn my cav back around. Then he forms square again. I should have charged these guys instead. They can't form square at this point. Oh, I got a good shot there, though. But very good game to my opponent, Kahit. And that's the point where I was able, he was so screwed, even forming square wasn't enough to save him from cav. Then that gets those guys to run. Oh, how embarrassing to be the troop that runs right as victory is assured. Shameful display, whichever French unit that was. Shameful display. But you know what wasn't a shameful display was my opponent. So very good game, Kahit. I enjoyed playing you, and I hope to see you on the field again sometime.